Hmm. Give everybody a chance to kind of come in right now. I'll move this a little bit. Give the family a little time to come in. Try to spend a little time with you guys this morning. Get our day started right again, like we've been trying to do lately. Shalom, family. Great seeing everyone. Good rising, Ancient Gardener. Thank you, Jewel Pickens. Shalom, shalom. Great seeing everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. I think we try to get a little time in together before we start the day. Like we said, there's so much going on, you know. Shalom, shalom. It's good seeing everyone coming on in. We're going to talk about a couple things this morning. Good morning, Mimsa. Yasharel. It's great seeing you. Grand Rising family. It's amazing. Like I said, just looking at the news, looking at the interpretation of the news from the Gentile perspective. You know, them trying to ignore, judgment that's here, ignoring why these things are happening. Shalom, everyone. Great seeing everyone. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of the Eternals. They're buffering already. Okay, back now. So yeah, we're just trying to spend a little time together before we start the day. Have a chance to kind of go back and forth, spend a little time together. You know, good. I'm glad we're back now. It was crazy because I was trying to change this thumbnail. I took this picture a couple times and it wouldn't load. This is this book we're going to be getting into. Check this one out right here. It's called Stolen Legacy. Okay, Stolen Legacy, and it's by George James, George G.M. James. And it's amazing because it's pretty much showing how the Greeks stole all the information that they got from the Egyptians. I mean, and it's documented. I mean, a lot of information right here in this book. So this one just came in yesterday. Very difficult to find, this particular one. And the only reason that it's crazy how the Most High works. We were doing a search for it, but it wouldn't pop up. But then it popped up later on with some super long number in front of it, and then it was this book right here, like super long number, then the title. So it's kind of like the Most High made it so that no one else could really find it, and he's kind of like reserving it for us, you know. And like I said, it's just I read just a little bit of it last night, but I'm gonna read some more of it today, and it's crazy. In the back it says the Egyptian mystery systems, Greek philosophy, and Professor George G.M. James says when the pupil is ready, then the master will appear. Avatars appear when the disciples are ready. In the Black Gnostic world of learning, George G.M. James is indeed an avatar. As the importance of his work is understood, then ranks of his disciples grow. It was Dr. James, more than any other scholar, who provided us with overwhelming proof that Aristotle, far from being the world's greatest ancient scholar, was the top robber plagiarist of all time. Aristotle stole from the Nile libraries the cultural legacy of the Egyptian mystery systems. Not understanding their dialectical essence, he gave them in his edited translations and rewrites the eclectic twists. He also distorted them with dogma and passed them on to the Western world with frozen, static formulations rather than their original fluid and dynamic expressions. It was Dr. James who put into historical perspective the significance of the Memphite equation to all modern science. It made possible the mode of thought which is characteristic of Planck, Einstein, Heisenberg, and the entire galaxy of high energy physicists who have used quantum equations to overthrow classical mechanics, physics, and chemistry, and to make possible intergalactic communication via the neutrino. It was Dr. James who marshaled evidence of the discovery by Africans of the most basic law of the universe, the unity and struggle of opposites, called by him the doctrine of opposites. It was Dr. V in great detail the dialectical approach to philosophy and life of the ancient Egyptians. Black Gnosticism shows an unbroken historical development from the Memphite equation to Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared. That Dr. George G.M. James was eminently qualified to deal with the many weighty historical and philosophical problems involved in stolen legacy is shown in the biographical notes by Dr. Asa G. Hillard from volumes 1, number 2 of Uraeus. Okay, and what I'll do is, again, this is kind of like the back here. If you guys can kind of see it, you guys can kind of read it here. I'll kind of go kind of slow. There. And here would be the title once again, as the book looks like right here. It's very difficult to find this particular one. Okay, but we'll definitely get to it. It just talks about pretty much how like the Greeks pretty much just stole everything, which we already know. But now we're going to be able to actually go into and get like a lot more information, a lot more understanding as far as that is concerned. We get to get more understanding about how all these things have been stolen from us. And so we understand, that even when they're talking about the Egyptians, well, who do the Egyptians get their information from? And we already know that they got their information from Abraham. So it wasn't that they were stealing, Egypt's information. It was still stealing the Hebrew Israelites, our information from our forefathers, from our posterity. No, and that's okay though. I said, but as long as we understand that the Greeks who've tried to hide all this information got their information from someone else, then we can always do the legwork to figure out who had what before that. I'm checking out some more of that. You guys' comments there. This is gonna be the part I'm gonna read here. Here I'm gonna read these eight points right here. I'm just gonna read these ones real quick also. Okay, I'm trying to get you guys a chance to kind of see. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'm just gonna read these eight really quick. Okay, this is barely at the beginning. It says, what were the secrets that were being hidden? Hold on. It remains to be seen if we are beyond typical historical responses to challenging ideas and firsthand original documentation. We must recall here the burning of the Egyptian Ethiopian library at Alexandria, the Inquisition, and the many book burnings in history. What was in the books which were burned? And so we know how they always want to burn books and hide information, right? And we always wonder, like, what is it they're hiding? Why are they burning these books? Okay, here's some right here. What were the secrets that were being hidden? Does it matter? Contrary to contemporaneous teaching, number one, That man know thyself was not original with Socrates, but was common among the Egyptian teachers. Okay. Number two, that Plato's four cardinal virtues were copied from the Egyptian mysteries. That grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, music, astronomy were Egyptian liberal arts copied by the Greeks. That whole Greek faculties and student bodies moved to Egypt to be taught by Egyptians and to learn from their libraries. That Greek philosophers were not welcome at home. That Greeks began going to Egypt for education around 525 BC. That's number six. Number seven, that some of Plato's material comes from the 5,000-year-old Egyptian Book of the Dead. And number eight, that the 4,000-year-old Memphite theology is the source of much Greek thought. Okay, it says, would Afro-American children in schools be interested in this as well as in the description of the Egyptians by the Greek Herodotus, the father of history, when he described the people he saw in Egypt as burnt skinned, flat nosed, thick lipped, and woolly haired? How would the knowledge of these facts have affected colonial historians who wrote about primitive people in darkest Africa? Clearly, history as we know it must be rewritten. Read George G.M. James and Free Your Mind. Like to talk about again, us having to become as children once again. Having to become like as children once again. You have to free your mind. You have to, unlearn everything that you have learned. And that's exactly what we are going to have to do. That's what we've been doing. The few who have decided to, who've been called to take this journey. Not everyone is called to take this journey. But yeah, that's exactly it. We have to relearn everything. So you have to be able to be willing to read other books and then be open to different interpretations. And like I said, we're just scratching the ice, scratching the tip of the iceberg right now. Yeah, right. It's great seeing everyone here. Good seeing all the comments. Exactly, the whole Bible only. When we know the Bible's been tampered with, you gotta just like any book, you gotta chew the meat and spit out the bones. Shalom 12. Yeah, I was checking out Kudameo's video that he put up about the Gospels, you know, God spells and all that good stuff. I just watched about 10, 15 minutes of it. I have to watch some more of it. It said, but like I said, you have to have your mind open. You have to be able to read. You have to be able to interpret new information. You got to be able to ingest it. You got to be able to, comprehend it in order to get some different outputs on certain things. We've been conditioned to just take information and just act like it's all correct when, there's always some kind of a narrative. And the vast majority of these books and have been written from the oppressor's point of view. You gotta have that critical thinking, exactly. But thank all praises to the Most High. We have the Holy Spirit who's coming and giving us knowledge and giving us understanding, giving us comprehension skills to be able to read through all the BS. And it's beautiful to actually have, a forum where we can come together and we can share information. We can bounce ideas off of one another. Like I said, it's nice to have an opportunity to come together as like-minded individuals and have an opportunity to talk and spend time together. The rest of the time we're out here in the world dealing with the other nations, dealing with conflict and everything else. We don't want to have to come over here and have conflict within the family, have conflict within the nation when we're actually all on the same, we're all on the same path trying to find our way back to the Father. But see, that's what they've used for many, centuries to keep us away from each other, fighting, looking for anything to have some kind of contention and things like that. I said, that's not necessary. I said, we are, like I said, a nation of kings, queens, and priests. We are supposed to come together to share ideas, and you don't have to, down each other because we might not understand everything exactly the same way. I said we're all on our different paths, and we're all at different stages, of our growth. So it's beautiful to be able to, like I said, come together. We don't have to agree on everything. I said, but the main thing is that we are walking on our path. We have our free agency and we're working together. We're learning from one another. We have the rest of the day for contention, for, dealing with people that don't agree with us or don't respect our ideas on things. But at least we can come here and we can be together, unified, and talking and spending some time together. And I said, that's a beautiful thing. Just like that video last night about the Sefer Yetzirah. I said that was some deep information, and the connection with the ISIS unveiled, and kind of explaining why the church has decided to take certain books out, not approve certain things, hide information. I said, when you understand, it's really because they can't understand it themselves, and if they can't understand it, they can't teach it. So if they can't understand it or teach it, they're not going to approve it. I said, this information is deep. It's not something you can just read one time and think, oh, yeah, I got it. It's not like that. But see, the other nations love to always make it seem as if they have all the answers. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. It would be some kind of a phenomenon, and there'd be some word that they've already come up with for it. Something I've never even seen before, some kind of phenomenon, and they'll have some kind of word for it because they always want to make it seem like they have all the answers. But so you start getting into stuff like the, Sefer Yetzirah, you start getting into esoteric information, and if they don't have the answers for it, they don't want to be portrayed as like, not knowing something. So then they'll just say, "Oh, well, we don't approve of that. That's heretical. That's witchcraft. That's mad. Whatever." I have no problem admitting, hey, I don't know something. Hey, you know what? This is brand new to me. It's new information. I don't understand it, but through the power of the Most High, through the power of the Holy Spirit, hopefully I'll get some more understanding. And if I don't understand it, maybe someone will Most High put someone in my path that has that understanding that can actually help us to be able to get this understanding. I said that's how it should work as a nation. Our Father is not like some simple entity that you can just figure out like that. Didn't even know what the slave Bible, huh, Queen Mommy? Exactly. I mean, think about that. Like, I mean, that's basic. Like the slave Bible, and they have no idea. A lot of this information I said is brand new. The Kabbalah, the Zohar, and you have to you know you have to actually go back and study, and you have to have cross reference things. Here a little, there a little. We have to bounce ideas off of one another. And I said it's beautiful to be able to come in and, like I said, and share information, share knowledge, share the things that maybe, I mean, I'm sure some people have read that Sefer Yetzirah, and I have some different understanding. And so I said that's why this is a good forum to be able to share some of your guys' understanding on some of that information. Checking out your guys' comments. Yes, the sun is bright, it's like beaming like right here. That's it. Once you have the Holy Spirit, you gotta trust her and her guidance. Exactly. We are so behind in all this knowledge. Exactly. But the Most High is definitely restoring us. He's giving us this information back. He's going to give us this. He's going to quicken us. because it's ours. It's going to connect to our spirits, and we're going to get this we're going to get this understanding. And like I said, we're being aware of the events that are happening around us, as far as, like, with these other nations getting ready to fight and things like that. But like I said, but we have to continue on our journey, because our journey is the key. As long as we're following, working our way back to the Most High, getting our heritage back, working to get our heritage back. As you can see, every time that we keep on going, every time that we keep on getting more information, things ratchet up. The other nations haven't realized that just yet. Well, the vast majority of them, but hey, the ones at the top, they know. Like I said, that's exactly why they're quitting, they're retiring from their positions. I said, these high money making positions, they're just walking away from. I said the vast majority of the world doesn't understand why, but we do. I have no idea why China's supposedly creating a fake sun. I have no idea what they're doing over there. Most High does. Most High knows why they're doing the things that they're doing. I said I don't have to know. I said I'm more focused on what it is that we're doing. I said, I'm not trying to be reactionary and worry about what everyone else is doing. We're aware of it. We're watching it happen. We're watching the Most High fulfilling scripture, fulfilling prophecy. But we are a huge part of that prophecy. So therefore, we have a responsibility. If we want prophecy to continue to be manifested, then we need to continue to produce good fruits. We need to continue, and this is a great forum to be able to do that, because now as a community, we're coming together, we're talking with each other. We're growing with one another. If you have questions, now we have people that are here that can help with answering some of your questions. But like I always say, just because you get answers does not absolve you from studying. If someone tells you something, still go and study it out. Still go and research it out. That is everyone's responsibility, to study to show thyself approved, to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So it's not just, hey, here are the answers and that's it. Study it on your own as well. I said there's plenty of resources. There's a lot of resources for you to study things out. Each one teach one. Exactly. We work together to give you information, give you understanding. But ultimately, just like anyone, I've told her, don't just take what I say, as the gospel truth. I said, go and research it out for yourself. You need to be able to understand what it is that you believe. Because like I said, at the end, you're going to be the one standing in front of the Most High. And he's going to ask you what you did with the talents that he gave you. Then that's going to be your responsibility to break that down and show the Most High, what you did with the talents that he gave you. And that's why, like I said, everyone has their own responsibility in this. Yes, you got people definitely perishing for lack of knowledge. If they don't want the knowledge, then like I said, that's on them. Like I said, but this is a beautiful time for us to be able to come together. I see a lot of great comments, here in the comment section. It's beautiful. Is cremation wrong? I'm not sure. Yes, it's a separate zirah. Yeah, it's harder to understand. Yep, a background in sacred geometry will help understand exactly the Metatron cube. Yeah, like I said, you're dealing with some pretty deep stuff, and like I said, so it makes sense as to why, if you can't understand it that well, that you don't want to, and you don't want to, let other people know that you don't understand it. And it's kind of hard, because if you given the whole narrative that you came up with all this stuff, that all this stuff revolves around you, but then you can't explain some of the stuff that's there. So then, if you wanted to make it seem like you're Abraham, you wanted to make it sound like you're Moses, you wanted to make it sound like you're Jesus, and but then all of a sudden, when some of this deeper understanding comes out, and there's questions and you can't answer them, then it kind of pretty much undermines the fact that you said you were the people, but then you can't understand it, but then you can't explain it. So therefore, that's why it makes much more sense to hide it. No, I'm not saying that Egypt played a major role in our knowledge. No, not at all. I'm saying that Egypt actually got their information from Abraham. See, but you got to remember, what do the Gentiles always will let everyone else can have a piece of our knowledge. It could just never be yours. You know what I mean? It can never be the most. It can never be the Most High's chosen people. They'll say it's the East Indians who were the first ones that set up, civilization or religion. Oh, it was the Egyptians that had this. So they're still giving you partial truth. That okay, well, fine. We'll say we'll let in this book we'll let it be published talking about how um, the Egypt, the Greeks got their information from the Egyptians, but we also know that the Pythagoras was actually taught by the Druids. And see, that's the whole thing. They've been trying to wipe up the fact that the Druids were the ones who were actually given a lot of this information. They were the ones, they wiped out that entire civilization. So therefore, from all this learning and knowledge that they got from the Druids, they had to give it to somebody. So they gave a little bit to credit to, the Egyptians. They gave a little bit of credit to the East Indians. They gave a little bit of credit to the Chinese. They gave a little bit of credit to the Japanese. Everyone gets their little piece because it's all that Psalms 83. I said, so they got a little bit of everybody got all of our knowledge, and they just dispersed it all over the world and said, oh, it was these people who had this and these, because they were working to destroy all knowledge of us, the so-called Irish, the Druids, the Celts. They're working to destroy all of that, and that's exactly what they've done. Everyone else can get credit, but it just can't be us. It just can't be us. All right, family, I'm going to let you guys go. I got to get in here and get the day started here at work. And Most High willing, we'll come back later on. All right. All praise is to Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom, family.